Rumors have been swirling for a long time about Corey Gamble and his mysterious connection to Diddy. Some say he's actually Diddy's cousin, which only adds another layer to this twisted web of relationships and secrets. People are now questioning whether this rumored family link might be true, wondering if it's one of the reasons he's been so close to Diddy over the years. It's no longer just a simple question of friendship or loyalty. It's about family ties and how deep those bonds really go. If Corey is indeed related to Diddy, it would mean that he's been part of this inner circle all along, playing a role that no one fully understood. With Radar Online's recent report, the mystery surrounding Kim's life and her untimely death has taken on a new intensity. According to them, someone who was reportedly very close to both Kim and Diddy sent them a flash drive containing what might be the most revealing part of Kim's manuscript. The file reportedly holds 40 pages straight from her book, pages filled with the kind of information that many believe Kim was silenced for. It seems like Kim's past is finally catching up to those who wanted her quiet, and people are eager to find out what secrets are about to come to light. Kim's manuscript wasn't a gentle reflection on her life. It wasn't filled with lessons learned or fond memories. Instead, it was raw, filled with accounts of the pain and mistreatment she allegedly suffered at Diddy's hands. She wanted the world to know the truth about what happened behind closed doors. There were no sugar-coated stories or softened truths. Kim described specific incidents in which Diddy's behavior left her walking on eggshells, constantly wary of setting him off. This wasn't a life of glamour and ease. It was a life filled with caution, anxiety, and the need to constantly protect herself. One of the incidents Kim described in vivid detail was supposed to be a simple evening out for dinner, but Diddy's mood was already dark, and she could tell something was wrong from the moment she stepped out of the bathroom. The tension was thick, and she could feel it weighing down on her, making her feel small and powerless. She had learned over time that when Diddy was in one of his moods, it was best to stay silent, to be careful, to avoid saying or doing anything that might upset him further. In her own words, she said she was walking on eggshells, each step calculated, each word weighed. As she exited the bathroom, she barely had a chance to breathe before she heard Diddy's voice erupt in anger. "What the f—" he yelled, his voice sharp and filled with rage. She froze, feeling a chill run down her spine, her body tensing as she braced herself for what might come next. This was a pattern she had grown all too familiar with. The sudden outbursts, the fear that followed, and the constant effort to keep herself small and out of the way. She felt trapped, like there was no way to escape the cycle of tension and fear that defined so much of her life with him. In her book, Kim recounted how she had learned to predict his moods, to anticipate when he was about to snap. She knew the signs, the clenched jaw, the way his eyes would narrow, the shift in his posture. These subtle cues became part of her survival toolkit, things she used to protect herself from the unpredictable storms that seemed to follow Diddy everywhere. But no matter how careful she was, no matter how much she tried to keep the peace, it always felt like she was just one wrong move away from another explosion. As the flash drive's contents reportedly reveal, Kim felt completely isolated, like she was living in a world where no one could hear her cries for help. She had people around her, people who claimed to be her friends, yet none of them seemed to understand what she was going through. She wrote about how the glamour and wealth surrounding Diddy often blinded people to the reality of his behavior. The outside world saw the charm, the charisma, the success. But behind closed doors, Kim saw the darker side, the side that left her feeling constantly on edge. This life she led wasn't one of companionship or true partnership. It was more like a tightrope walk where one misstep could lead to consequences she didn't want to imagine. Kim was someone who never backed down from speaking her mind, especially about the people who moved in and out of her life. She had a sharp intuition, almost like a sixth sense, for picking up on things that others couldn't. She noticed the tiny details, the subtle shifts in people's behavior, and these small things often revealed much bigger stories. And when it came to her relationship with Diddy, Kim knew there were secrets, dark ones, hidden just under the surface. People saw them as a couple, but it was more complicated than that. They were together, but it was like he held a kind of invisible control over her, a power that seemed to keep her almost captive. The relationship was complicated and painful, and no matter how hard she tried, it was as if she could never fully break free. The internet recently erupted with whispers and chatter when Radar Online leaked a potential 40 pages from Kim's tell-all book, the one she was supposedly working on before her passing. Fans had known for some time that she was writing something big, a project that seemed incredibly important to her. This wasn't just any memoir, it was her chance to reveal the secrets she'd been holding on to for years, especially those concerning Diddy. Some people believe that this book might be the reason she never got to publish it herself, as rumors suggest that she was silenced before she could expose everything. The idea that Kim knew secrets so shocking that they could put her in danger only added fuel to the speculation surrounding her story. The book itself is rumored to contain startling revelations, not only about Diddy, but also about the people who moved in his orbit. And one name that keeps coming up is Corey Gamble. For years, Corey has been known as Kris Jenner's boyfriend and a part of the Kardashian circle, but people have often wondered why he seemed to be around Diddy so frequently. His presence at certain events, sometimes at strange and unexpected moments, has confused fans and sparked countless theories. People were unsure of what role he played or why he was in certain places when he didn't really seem to fit in with the situation. Now, with the rumored release of these pages, it seems that Kim's book might hold the answer to that mystery. According to what's been leaked, Kim's book suggests that the Kardashians could be involved in this tangled web of secrets. This revelation alone has been enough to shock people, as it connects two very powerful worlds: the glitzy reality TV fame of the Kardashians and the shadowy, powerful world of Diddy. Kim wasn't one to tiptoe around sensitive subjects, and it's clear that she didn't hold back in her writing. She detailed her experiences, her observations, and the things she witnessed, especially about Diddy's inner circle. And Corey, with his close ties to the Kardashians, seemed to play a bigger role than anyone realized. Many are now starting to piece together the puzzle, wondering just how deep Corey's involvement might go. No one believes that Diddy could have orchestrated everything alone. He would have needed help, people to act as his eyes, ears, and even hands in situations where he couldn't be directly involved. Corey, with his unassuming presence and his ability to float between different social circles, seemed like the perfect person to take on that role. He wasn't loud or flashy, but he was always there, always watching, always observing, and now fans are beginning to understand why. Kim's insights into Corey's presence reveal much more than anyone had previously suspected. She saw that he was in the background, but she felt his influence, felt the weight of his quiet power. It was as if he was a ghostly figure, always around but never fully acknowledged. She noticed the way he acted, the things he seemed to know, and the way he could maneuver around situations without drawing too much attention to himself. This ability to blend in, to be almost invisible, made him even more dangerous. And Kim realized that Corey's connection to Diddy might be much deeper and more complex than it appeared on the surface. Her observations didn't stop there. Kim's writing also hints that Corey wasn't just an outsider in Diddy's circle, he was an insider, someone who knew more than anyone suspected. There were times when she felt he was aware of everything going on behind closed doors, as if he was privy to secrets that no one else could access. This closeness to Diddy gave him a unique power, and Kim could see how he used it. Corey was never loud, never overt in his actions, but his presence alone seemed to signal that he was someone who could get things done, someone who could make things disappear or reappear as needed. The more Kim wrote, the clearer it became that she didn't trust him. She sensed that Corey was not just a friend or a bystander. He was an active player, deeply involved in the hidden parts of Diddy's life. Kim's words paint a picture of a man who was loyal, not to her, not to the truth, but to the power he served. This loyalty, combined with his quiet but intense presence, made him a figure to be wary of. Kim found herself constantly questioning his motives, wondering if he was aware of the damage he might have been part of. But it wasn't just Corey's loyalty to Diddy that bothered her. It was the fact that his ties to the Kardashians made him nearly untouchable. Kim realized that he had the backing of one of the most powerful families in the entertainment world. The Kardashians, with their influence, wealth, and media power, could protect him in ways that ordinary people couldn't. If there was ever a moment where he might be exposed, they would shield him. And this added layer of protection only made Kim feel more isolated. She understood that no matter what she knew, no matter what she wanted to reveal, the forces surrounding Corey would work to keep things under wraps. As she continued to write, Kim poured out her frustration and fear, knowing that her words were her only weapon. She was frustrated that she had so much information but no way to share it safely. She feared the people who could silence her, people with connections so deep that they could erase her story before it ever reached the public. Writing this book became her mission, her last stand against the people who had kept her quiet for so long. It was her way of fighting back, of reclaiming her voice in a world where she felt constantly overpowered. In her heart, Kim wanted people to know the truth. She wanted them to understand that there were layers of manipulation, control, and secrecy that went beyond anything anyone could imagine. This wasn't just about her relationship with Diddy. It was about the entire web of influence that kept powerful people protected. And as she put her thoughts on paper, she knew she was stepping into dangerous territory, but it was a risk she was willing to take. Her words, now rumored to be part of this leaked manuscript, reveal a story that's darker and more complex than anyone could have predicted. Kim was more than just a bystander. She was an observer, someone who saw the truth when others chose to ignore it. She was willing to reveal the secret she knew, even if it meant putting herself at risk. And now, as fans anxiously await the full release of her words, the world is beginning to see Kim not just as a woman caught in a toxic relationship, but as someone who stood up against a powerful machine determined to tell the truth, no matter the cost.